Go.
All right, cool. All right.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the In the Zone podcast. Welcome to episode 3. Kenny Goins will be joining us today as our guest. Thank you for joining us. And Tyson Watson, obviously, back as the co-host. Thank you, Tyson,
What's up?
So thank you for joining us, Kenny. If you want to start it off, you can.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on here. It's kind of funny to hook up with Tyson, even though back in the day I didn't know I would be meeting him again through the phone. Crazy that we both got the same little connection. I guess I should explain. We both went to Warren Mott and now State, so had to play football too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, I play. Yeah, I'm going for football.
Yeah, what position you play?
Defensive end.
That's what I thought. So you're a big fella, huh?
Yeah.
So I guess we could start there then. So talk a little bit about where you're originally from. I know you mentioned Warren Mott and where you grew up around.
Yeah, so I grew up in Troy, Michigan, but went to Warren schools just based on where I lived. So it wasn't actually school of choice, just happened to be the district of my house. And, ever since I was young, I've always been playing basketball, played football a lot, and was actually really big into football. And I guess the Warren Mott coaches must be pretty good at recruiting out of football because they gave me quite a few scholarship opportunities to go play football coming out of high school. And my dad convinced me to kind of wait on that and take a scholarship in basketball. So I guess I could thank him for the lovely career that I had so far. But, it's a nice area right outside Detroit. I always back visiting my parents now in the summertime and stuff. And, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else for summer.
Yeah.
You mentioned getting the scholarship offers. What offers did you get in football? I don't remember, you ever talking about that ever.
I got offers kind of all over the place. A lot of MAC schools. I went down to Penn, the Ivy League school down in Philadelphia. A camp out there.
Yeah.
It was kind of just all over the place. I think I had like 30 odd schools that had offered me officially for scholarship for
that. This thing freeze again?
Yeah, my laptop is back. Okay, I'm back now. Crap. I'll cut that out. I was so mad. Anyway, I was gonna ask you, but it's like I heard some earlier. You were like, you lived in Troy, but like you had to go to school in Warren. It's weird. The districts are weird. Like you can live right across the street from the different districts. Like depending on what school you go to, could depend on like what side of the street you live on over here. Yeah, it's like weird, very weird. Like one side of the street could be going to Warren and one to Troy. It's crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, right there at 15 miles, like the cutoff at 15 and John R.
Yeah,
I live right at both.
Yeah.
One of the blocks is like Athens. The other block are kids that I went to elementary school, but ended up going to Sterling Heights. So like I was like one of like 6 kids in my elementary school class that ended up going to like my middle school and then Mott. So I really didn't like keep any friends from like elementary school to middle school to high school, like real close. It's just because when you start to go to different schools, it's weird. But
that's kind of how I was too. I live in Florida, but I go to Michigan State. But like how ours is set up, like for a high school, it was totally different. And a lot of my friends went to the other one, kind of like how you were saying. I don't like how they do that though. But
no, I mean, I guess you get to see a lot more people, but it's I'm sure it kind of messes up a lot of friendships, as I was just saying. Like just as you start to grow apart, you start hanging out as much and stuff.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But well. I guess I'll ask the next one, Tyson. So you came to Michigan State as a walk-on in 2014. Was your goal always to play for Michigan State no matter what, or did you just not have interest at the D1 level for basketball like you did for football?
No, I definitely had interest at the D1 level for basketball too. Again, it was still like MAC schools, and I commit to Ferris State for a long time. Like I was really planning on going to them. And I think I just kind of waited a little too long and, certain ones had fallen off the table. And really, I actually was like set on going to Central. I went there for an official visit and like wake up that Sunday. And I'm ready to tell the coaches, like, look, I want to go to Central. Like, I'm ready to commit. And right there at the lunch or at the breakfast, the coach sits down and tells me, like, look, we signed a kid from Serbia overseas, like last night, Sunday at like 2 a.m.,
Wow.
And that last scholarship spot. So after that, like, I think it was 2 days later, Tuesday, I called up Izzo on the phone and told him, like, I'll come and be it was a preferred walk-on spot at Michigan State. So they had recruited me a little bit, but they didn't have a scholarship spot for me. So, I was like, I would love to come to Michigan State and walk on. And it was just kind of like everything had been put in front of me that this is what I should do. Even if I wanted something else, it felt like something else was better for me. This was, destined, I guess.
Right. So how did you feel
Yeah,
like?
because I remember. No, you
All
can go.
right. I was like, so how did you feel like walking on at MSU? Like, what was that feeling? Like, were you nervous because like you were like not on scholarship? Did you feel like they were
nerve?
Yeah.
One way to put it, like, it's not just like nervous about how you're going to compare to other people on the team. It's like, nervous how other people will see you on campus, on TV. It just sometimes you feel in that walk-on spot like you're not good enough to be there. And it's very like daunting on yourself and just kind of makes you feel unworthy in a way. Like multiple times I was like, I don't belong here. I thought about transferring a couple different years.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to thank my family, my dad again, because they really helped me in sticking it out and gaining that confidence back in myself. And that's not to say it didn't come from the coaches and my teammates either, but like, my family just really helped me in those times where I'm really starting to feel down or like my freshman year, I redshirted, so I didn't play a game. And I mean, I'm sure every athlete at some point knows how bad it is to just sit through an entire season and not see the floor or something like that. And it's not fun. So, like you said, nervous is one way to put it, but it's just like a whole different kind of terrified, I guess you could say.
All right.
Like one thing about you that's super cool, a lot of people forget about is like your redshirt freshman year, you guys went to the Final Four, and then your senior year, you went to the Final Four. So you experienced it all. Like, I don't know about Tyson, I don't know how big of a basketball fan you are, but losing the the first weekend, the 3 years, 2 Final Fours, like I feel like you've been through it all. Like if any recruit has any questions for Michigan State basketball, I feel like you're the one to talk to about all that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I could give them some good advice and some good ways to kind of survive the whole ringer that is the Big Ten, just throughout the Big Ten season and whatnot. But like you said, I saw a lot of ups and downs. We had the good times, the bad times, losing to Texas Southern that same year that we made it to the Final Four and stuff like that. I've seen it all. And I guess even like with the Big Ten championships, I think I won 2 regular season Big Ten championships and 2 tournament Big Ten championships too. So that's that's just the reason you go to. You're gonna have the chance to not only play the best but win against the best because of the culture, the coach, your teammates, all that.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned like Izzo and stuff. What was it like playing for him? And is there anything different while you played for him that you didn't expect, like before, I guess, playing for him, like meeting him or anything that, any cool Izzo stories or anything like that?
I don't know if I could think of a story off the top of my head, but I don't know. I guess it's just you never really you see the intensity that he brings when he's yelling, but until you're in that situation where you can hear every syllable, every word, everything that he's saying directly to you, you don't understand how much it really affects. Like, obviously, all of us are bigger than him by a substantial amount, but he still is able to drive home a lot of fear in a lot of guys. And who knows why, but like I said, it's just the way he says it and what he says. He knows how to push buttons, but he also knows how to get the best out of you, as we've seen a lot of different times. So it was always a dream to be coached by him, but definitely it was a very different reality once you got it as a.
Yeah. And another thing, and then you can go, Tyson, too, that I mean, I'd love to hear your perspective is how does he gain so much respect from all these Miles Bridges, all these guys are all in the NBA. Like they could be so big headed towards him, but like Cassius, like all these guys you played with, Jaren Jackson, it seems like all of them they all respect him to the fullest. There's never been one that hasn't, or you would know better than I would, at least, about all that.
No, I mean, I think we all respect him, and I think there's a reason that he has the respect all over the nation and in the basketball community in general. Is there might be one person, and when you talk about Michigan State basketball, that will go above Izzo's name, and that's, Magic, and that's not a lot of great players that haven't come and gone, but to do the things that man has done and the notches he's got on his belt, that I don't think anyone will ever be able to really come close to that. So there's the reason that he has all that respect, is in the Hall of Fame, things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So speaking of Izzo's coaching, there were a lot of people in the media trying to say he coaches his player too hard. He yells at them too much. Oh my God. I got really annoyed by it this year. They were really trying to go. I'm like, come on, guys. This is how you coach. Like, what are your feelings on that? Because, how the media tries to sometimes.
I think that we all have faults in our own way. And I think that the reason that Izzo is so animated, is so energized when it comes to the interactions between us, is because he cares so much. And that's one thing that no one can ever say about him, is that he doesn't care about his players, because until the day that one of us will be unfortunately in the ground, he will ride for us. And it's the same way, because we feel that love on and off the court. But like I said about him caring, is he really cares about not only winning, but you succeeding as a person. Like when he looks at you as a player, he wants you to win this game, win a job, whatever it is, win at life. He really wants that for you. So that's where all the emotion comes from, all that energy, all the screaming and the redness, is because sometimes he wants more than we do. And I don't know, a lot of people say it makes him crazy, which he probably is, and to an extent, but how can you hate someone that wants you to win so bad?
Yeah.
Right.
And I just totally forgot until you mentioned that, Tyson, but you were also there for one of the biggest incidents in probably the history of that bullshit, that Aaron Henry thing against Bradley. I mean, what were your guys' thoughts around? I mean, you guys were there, the media blew it up. Were you in the locker room? Was it even a big deal? I mean, everyone made it out as if the media was ending.
The media will always blow the whole thing out of proportion, but it wasn't like I said, it's just that energy comes from the passion that we all feel for the game, for winning, for as every athlete knows, once you get into that mode of competitor, or this competition in sports, like a different animal kicks in. If you're a real competitor, a different animal or instinct kicks in, to where now I could be an asshole to my mother, and it's just because I want to win type deal. But it's not like at the end of the day, I walk out of there and we're still screaming at each other. It's still, F this, F you, I hate you. As soon as this is over, or as soon as you leave those 4 lines on the hardwood, it's smashed. You guys are back to love. You guys are still family, just like how it was before. And that 1-2 hours, it might have gotten heated, but it's not going to be like that every day. And it might be like that pretty consistent throughout the season, but it's because, I see my way, he sees his way, but we both still want that same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the next thing, what everyone's wanting to hear. So the Duke shot, obviously you guys I'm pretty sure you ran a similar play earlier that half. And I think it was you and Zion blocked it, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, that was actually a different play. It was the same step, but a different play technically, where I was meant to shoot that one.
Okay.
That he did. But the one that we ran on the last play was not meant for me to shoot. It was meant for us actually to run a lob to X, and if the lob wasn't there, to run a pick and pop again on the other side with Cassius, who was setting the back screen for X at the time.
That was actually my next point. I was going to say, during that huddle, nothing against, but what gave Izzo the confidence? All you guys, I know all of them. Some of the players have to be thinking if he gets the ball, he just blocked it, Zion's there. So what gave not only you, but everyone confidence that if that shot's open, not necessarily take it, but don't hesitate. It seemed like you didn't hesitate at all and you hold it.
No, I mean, I think it's just been like it was kind of the theme for that season in a way that all the coaches have always said, as long as you put in the work, they will trust the work.
Yeah.
It's hard to get good at something without putting in the time to work like that. But all year I've been working. I'm not just that year, but all year, especially that year, I've been working so much on my shooting, day in. And because they were able to see that time that I was putting in, they had their own trust and then kind of pushed that trust back onto myself. Like there was times going into that game, leading up to that Elite Eight game, all through March Madness, all through the Big Ten tournament, I think I shot like 12% from three.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I was not playing good at all. And it was still like every time I came into practice, my coach would be like, keep shooting that thing, keep shooting that thing. Like you've done it all year, you can keep doing it. And even if I was missing, it was like, keep shooting it. And without them saying that throughout all of March, I probably wouldn't have played. I probably wouldn't have shot that shot to begin with, but definitely wouldn't have had the confidence to trust. Like the confidence is half the battle before you even shoot. So.
Okay, so now we got a clarification. So a lot of people are like, oh, like, so that ball was actually meant to go to X, you're saying, but
what was meant to go, it was for a lob because we were down 2.
Yeah, exactly.
It was meant to be a lob to X on a back screen from Cassius. And if that wasn't open, like they covered it, swing to Cassius on the other elbow to elbow at the wing kind of, and then run another like pick and pop a pick and pop on that side. But we obviously never got that far.
What always amazed me too about that team is like you guys didn't really have a true center. Like I know X plays center, but he was only 6'8". Like it's not like, you didn't have a 7'1" center, but
Right.
That's one thing that always amazed me too. And a lot of, like you said, shooting, like, I mean, most of the team was, seniors, juniors. A lot of the freshmen weren't playing that much besides like Henry. That's one thing that always stood out to me was like just the leadership on that team was just crazy.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of guys who had been through what we talked about earlier. Was a lot of downs actually at that point. The last couple of years were very negative. There was a lot of kind of dark cloud energy hovering around the team for a couple of years there, and I think that was the first year we kind of felt like we had a chance to not reinvent ourselves, but in a way kind of just take a step out from this shadow and just play basketball again. Because for the 2 years leading up until that, we were just talking about anything besides basketball and stuff that we had no idea what was going on. Like just being harassed with questions that I don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was, like I'm a 20-year-old kid just playing basketball for fun. So it was a lot for all of us, both from the coaches on down to us. And then, like I said, that year was finally a year where we didn't have to worry about off the court drama. We all kind of just got to hoop, and we had guys who knew what it took to win games.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Like you mentioned, the 2018 season. Took me a second, but now I get what you're referring to. But
yeah.
Sure. I was gonna ask, what was your favorite moment as a player? It was obviously that, but do you have any other great moments that you remember being a player, or that we saw in games, or maybe that was in practice that you were like, oh my God, that was a moment where like,
I gotta say, I'm gonna give a shout out to my man Gav Schilling. That's my boy. We played 3 years together. But Miles Bridges, the dunk that he had on Clint Capella this year, he did one of those. Gym. It was like the first open gym we had we always did it on game days for football. Before the football game, we have open gym, shower up, head over. But we had the first open gym game, and he dunked on Gavin like that. So it was, you guys saw the Clint Capella one. Like it was exactly like, but like I'm on the floor to see it type deal. And it was, like I said, the first game, and we were all ready to stop playing like there in that moment. We were just like, we got to shut it down. Games, like, wrap it up, everyone go home, because it was just, everyone was in amazement.
That's great.
But yeah, no, the thing that amazes me too is like, he's your height, right? You guys are both 6'7", Miles Bridges. You're 6'7".
Yeah, I think he might be a little shorter, but I don't know. Maybe he grew.
I was going to say, like, did you ever look at him like in gym, like, dude, we're the same height. You're jumping like you're, like
Oh
70.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
I saw maybe it was Facebook memories or Snapchat memories the other day, him jumping on the vertical test, like when he first got there, and just it's like pretty much maxed out at the top of the rim, and of course he's touching it. I'm just like, seeing that now is still just freakish.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was gonna ask too, like you played with so many good players during your time at Michigan State. Who do you think was, I mean, I know it's hard to pick one guy, but who do you think was like the best player that fans probably don't think about? Like in practice, just killing everyone always. It doesn't have to be like the typical answer that everyone thinks about, but maybe a slept on player or something like that.
If I gotta go slept on, I might say Aaron Harris. I played with Aaron Harris, my boy E. We played on the scout team together my freshman year because he was a transfer at that year, and so he couldn't play. So we were on the scout team together because that was my redshirt year. And man, just watching him do some of the things that he did to like our starting lineup, or fifth year guys, and I think he was a junior at the time. He was just absolute murdering, pulling up from half court, like just it was like Steph Curry was in the gym. And I think that he still probably has the potential to play like that. And just his like kind of style was always so smooth. So I don't know. I think that's one of the probably most under appreciated guys that came through Michigan State, with me at least.
Yeah, that's a good player, because a lot of fans forgot about, well, not a lot, but like the average fan might forget about him after, that horrible injury his senior year, like, or that might have been his junior year. I don't remember, but
No,
if that never happened, junior year, yeah. If that never happened, who knows? He could be playing in the NBA right now. I firmly believe he could have been in the league.
Yeah, well, I think he still played overseas for a season or two. I don't know what he's up to now. I haven't talked to him in a minute, but
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I know that you're playing overseas right now in Europe. How did your last season go, and how are you doing over there?
It went well. I just finished my second season. I was in Greece, in the city/island of Rhodes, and it's really beautiful out there. I feel very blessed to be paid to live in Greece. And I feel very blessed to just be paid to be playing basketball in general. Something that going into Michigan State, I never really thought I'd be able to say, especially as a walk-on. But it's been a blessing, and I have been playing actually relatively well. I think I averaged like about 12 and 7 last year. Nothing crazy, but I don't think I was ever someone that was like a complete stat stuffer. But
Right.
I've been doing my thing, and I'm looking forward to going back there next season. Maybe not Greece, but in Europe somewhere. I have my agent and me are working on that at the moment. But yeah.
So how's life like adjusting over there? How different is it from living in America? Because I know that got to be like weird for you to have to move.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a shock that is hard to explain in itself, but I think it was harder for me my first year going to Italy. I just ended up on the Sicilian island, and I was kind of just out there in the country, essentially, the country of Italy. No one spoke English. There was like 35,000 people in my city. I really got to see what it was like to live what you would think like an Italian countryside lifestyle is. And like I said, it's a really big cultural shock, and you kind of you can't really survive for the first month that you're out there. So you rely heavily on your teammates. But once you get the hang of it, it's a miracle to be able to experience so many different walks of life while I'm still so young.
How different is the food down there? That's got to be different too. How different is it?
Well, in Italy it was amazing, but they only made Italian food amazing. In Greece, everything was amazing, and they made every kind of amazing. They had Mexican, Asian, I don't know, like burgers and hot dogs, Greek food, which is like, kind of like Lebanese and Euros, kebabs. It was great. I really enjoyed the food quality because I think that they have a little bit longer list of things they ban in their foods, but I don't know, maybe that's just me having a little bias.
The only thing I remember about Greece is this kid from my high school. I don't know if you're into shoes like that, but he always used to go there. I think his family is from there. And he'd come back every year with like boatloads of shoes. And I guess over there, they're like a lot cheaper. They had like these Nike, I don't know if they still do, but they used to have these Nike outlets and they had all these Jordans and stuff there. But that's the only thing I remember about Greece.
They definitely still have that, but I don't think they're cheaper. I think they're a lot more expensive, actually.
He used to tell me they were like $80, and I was like, oh, like it's crazy. But I don't remember.
Well, I spend it in euros then when you're out there, and which is like $1.20. So say like I'll get like a pair of shoes for like 160 euros. That's like $220. So
yeah, for sure. What's one of the things you miss the most from, whether it's Michigan State or just East Lansing in general that you didn't think you'd miss as much as you after you left?
I think the food that the team supplies, so like free food essentially.
Yeah.
Or my teammates. I miss my teammates a lot. Yeah, I think those are probably the two biggest. Those two, and then probably just the facilities. Like that's why I'm back here now in Michigan is just being able to train at that gym, that weight room. Like,
yeah,
most NBA arenas don't have stuff like that. So,
and that's crazy too. Like thinking like the football, like it's, sorry Tyson, but it's a little outdated compared to the basketball. Like, was that weight room?
Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. So like, it's very modern.
Yeah. I was going to ask you too, because I know Draymond, donated all that money, built the weight room.
Yeah.
Was that like when you got there your freshman year, was all that new, I know the Gilbert Pavilion, like was all that there? Or did that come like,
so from the time I got there to what I've seen most recently, they've renovated the locker room twice. They added a little bit to the training room. They put the whole Gilbert Pavilion in. That all got done when we were in Italy. I think that was 2017. Yeah, we went to Italy for 2 weeks and played out there. That was like a Europe trip, and then
I remember.
they like had just started it when we were leaving, and they were already done in the 2 weeks that we had left. Like we came back and it was pretty much finished.
That's crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a surprise to all of us because they said they were doing like this area, but they didn't tell us that they were going to do like the whole gym. They kind of renovated the offices for the coaches a little bit, but yeah, they just keep adding more and more stuff to that, and I guess we just keep getting more and more donations from different alumni and stuff like that. So
yeah, 32 million, no biggie. Whatever that guy's name was, can't remember.
Same someday.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But that's all I got. You got anything else, Tyson?
All I got. That's all I got. A good episode.
Yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Obviously you're the biggest guest we've had on, only our third episode, but yeah, I mean, hopefully people enjoyed this one. Kenny gave you some great stories, perspective that you might not have known. And that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. We'll be uploaded tomorrow, and that's all I got.
All right, guys. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and peace out, guys.